Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And today I'm really excited to get the news that I'm about to get. I'm checking for I'm checking my compression, seeing what it is. I say 160 to 180 because gauges can read differently, so if it's in that range, most of the time you're good. That's what I've heard. So I'm gonna be checking that today and hoping that it is good, because if it is not good, then obviously it's my oil rings and that's what my problem is. And I'm hoping that is not the case, because then I either have to buy a new engine or get it rebuilt, and I don't want to do either of those. So if my compression is good, I'm buying, I think it's AP, well, I already bought an APC valve or AC, it's something like that. I keep getting it confused, but anyways, I'm gonna replace that in a few days and see if that fixes it, and hopefully that does fix it, because then I have to buy a new turbo, which would be also expensive. But either way, I don't mind if it's a turbo, because that would just give me an excuse to buy a bigger one. But either way, of course, I want it to be the cheaper route. That way I don't have to be forced by a turbo right now, when I was originally gonna go with a front mount first and all that stuff before I went bigger turbo. And we'll just see what my compression is. Go ahead and start it now, and I'll go ahead and give a small tutorial on it too, on how to do it. So first off, you got to take off the intercooler cover, then the intercooler to get to your coil packs and your spark plugs, because you got to take those out. As you guys know, I've taken off this intercooler like a million times. Honestly, I've done it so many times, and I said that in last video too. I don't know how many times I have worked on this, and I just punched the crap out of that, but it's okay. There's like no telling how many times I've done this. So you're gonna wanna take off your coil packs, and then you should be able to get to the spark plug from there. So I got my coil packs out, and these are in order. This is how they're gonna go back in. I just left them in order, I don't know if it would mess anything up if they're not in order, so that's why I'm keeping them in order, because I don't know really anything about that. But I'm gonna go ahead and take out the spark plugs, and then go ahead and get ready to do the compression test. And there's also a fuse that you're supposed to take out, and I'm gonna take that fuse out too. I'll let you guys know which one it is. I already got one spark plug out, and I'm getting the rest now. Alright guys, this is the last one right here. And then we will pull the fuse and then start the compression test. And I'm really ready to get it started, because I'm really ready to see the results of what it is. And I just really hope it's not bad, because if it's bad, like I said before, I have to get it rebuilt or buy a new engine, and I don't want to do that. And you want to, by the way, the reason why you're pulling this fuse, which right here in that empty spot right where my finger's over, should be one that says 25. It should be like a grayish silverish kind of look. You pull that, and it should basically, before you even pull out the spark plugs, I did it backwards, but it's gonna be all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the compression test without letting it die of fuel starvation. But anyway, that's the fuel pump, so you're not dumping fuel into the car while you're trying to crank it. And basically, we'll do this first before you do that, and basically start it up and just let it die of fuel starvation, and then you're ready to take out the spark plugs and all that. Which mine's gonna be fine though, so I'm gonna just go ahead and do it anyways. If I were you guys, I would go ahead and get something, whether it's a notebook or your phone. I'm gonna use my notes on my phone here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but to punch in your numbers after you try to crank it over. Let's see what it made. Alright, that's at 150, guys, which is not good at all. But I'm gonna do it again just to check. And I'm gonna do it for even longer and see what it does. So guys, that's not good. That one isn't. So guys, big bad news there. And I've heard that all these read differently, but I still don't think it should read that far off. That one was at 145. That's not good either. Makes me sad, guys, really sad. Not good at all. So I did another one and it was at 145 also. And guys, it could be my reader, I don't know. I might have to try it on another car and see if it reads low on that car too. That might be my answer, but that's not good. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's not good either. And then for the last cylinder. So I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'm a little bummed out now. A lot. I mean, I got another video I'm gonna be doing today, but in particularly, I'm just gonna drive the car, keep oil in it, and if it, just check it again and after probably a few thousand miles and keep oil in it, and then I'm still probably gonna just replace the APC valve, just because I mean, it is 145, which is on the lower end. It's not on the really bad side yet, but it's not good either. And just gonna do that, and then I guess I'll just keep driving it until it eventually quits, because that's what it's eventually gonna do, is die out, because that's a sign of basically, you know, your O-rings are bad, then eventually your engine's gonna fail. So that's just part of it, because your cylinder walls get worn out, which create more space between your piston and the wall, which eats up the wall and then eventually spaces it out, and then you can't make as much compression basically. But I'm just gonna go ahead and put everything back together. I've also heard of head gaskets being kind of offset a little bit, and then that preventing it from making full compression. That could be my case, but I would hope something like that. But more than likely, the bottom end is just most likely dead. Well, it's not yet, but it's gonna be over time, so that's not good, but it is what it is, I guess. So guys, I didn't film any of it, but basically my compression, what I was thinking about is I was really bummed out after that, but then I was thinking about, you know, when do you see an engine that has all 4 cylinders on low compression? And 3's, you really don't. There's always like one cylinder a lot of times that is good, and the rest will be like, there may be like 1 or 2 that are like crazy, but then there's like 2 that are fine. And it's really, most of the time, it doesn't matter what gauge you have, if they're consistent numbers, then most likely your compression is fine. And so that night I was reading about the Harbor Freight compression gauge, the one I use. As we all know, Harbor Freight tools, cheap, all of it's cheap basically, and it's pretty cheap made, and some of it works fine and some of it doesn't. And that particular gauge is known to read low from what I've heard. And I was gonna do a Focus ST. I was gonna check the compression on it, and I watched a guy do a compression test on a Focus ST to see what the numbers are supposed to be at. Well, in this particular video, the guy just so happened to be using the Harbor Freight gauge, and his read at 120 compression all across the board on the Focus ST, and they're supposed to be at like 160 to 170. That's good on those. And so with that being said, well, he got 120, and then he used a snap-on gauge and made 162 with his compression. And we all know snap-on's good. So basically, his read low, and so then his reading low told me that, you know, I should definitely. I planned on checking anyways what the Focus ST, what compression it made, and so the next day I checked it and checked to see what compression it made, and it made the same exact number that guy that I watched on YouTube made. It made 120, and then at that point in time, I knew that my compression was fine on my car, and also them being very consistent across the board was another good sign. So I know that my compression is fine, and just gonna go ahead and say that I did replace the PCV valve and a couple days later, and pretty much I was actually filming it, and then it got so aggravating it wasn't worth trying to film. And I will say that I've been driving the car since then quite a bit, and I think that fixed my problem. And I think it might still be the turbo, because if I'm under boost, then I noticed a little bit of loss. So, like, long as I'm not in boost, then my car doesn't lose any oil. So, with that being said, my turbo is burning oil, but that means I'm just going to buy a banjo bolt and maybe switch to 5W40 oil, and then should be good then. And, well, that's just going to help my problem. It's not going to fix it, probably. That's just going to help it and slow down it burning oil, which is a win-win situation. And eventually I will go big turbo, and you guys might be seeing me go stage 3 soon, and more modifications coming soon. So, exciting stuff coming soon. But I think that's going to be it for today, guys. Making sure stay positive, of course. Like me, I was being negative, but I started thinking on the brighter side of things, tried to figure it out, and it turns out to be my compression is more than likely fine. And that's why we always think positive and think on the positive side. And that's why I always say that. If you're ever down about something, just look for positivity in it and just keep moving forward. I know TJ Hunt says that all the time, but that's just what you got to do. Stay positive is going to be my saying. And as you guys can tell, I say it in every video at the end of it. That's going to be it. Peace out, guys.